Hello, everyone. I'm Krista Moore, and welcome to the Krista Moore Talk Show. This is brought to you by K-Coaching and ID Growth. This talk show format is a new way to learn from industry experts and thought leaders as they share their thoughts and their growth ideas, and also many success stories. So I have the pleasure today of interviewing Amy Brown, and many of you know Amy. She's the Director of Strategic Services at ECI Solutions. So Amy, how are you?
I'm great, Krista. How are you doing?
I'm doing terrific. Thank you.
Good.
It's great to see you. So what I'd like you to do, please, is to tell our audience a little bit about yourself, if you would. That'd be awesome. Most people know you, but maybe not your complete story.
Absolutely. So I started the industry 23 years ago, and yes, for those of you who ask, I was 2 at that time, but started the industry at the independent dealer level. So I was in many of your shoes and helped a dealer grow from a very, very small dealership to a large dealership. Thought after 15 years of doing that, I was burnt out of the office products industry and left for a while, but got sucked back in and started consulting with dealers and helping them strategically with their business plans, with their marketing plans, and just helping them identify how to grow. Shortly after that, I started working with Accelerate because I love data. I love being able to grow dealerships based on the data and the facts based upon, instead of what you think is happening. And then shortly after that, ECI acquired Accelerate. So now I'm working with all of the platforms. I'm working with all of our dealers. We have about 1,200 dealers that I strategically work with just to make sure that our product is aligning with what it is that they are doing to grow their dealership.
That's great, and you certainly have a great background. I'm sure our audience appreciates all your experience in the industry. And we've talked in the past about this whole trend of mobile ordering, and specifically for the office products industry. I really appreciate you being our guest, and so that we can learn from you today. But why would you say that mobile ordering, that this trend is so important for the office products independent?
This topic is so critically important for our channel right now, and it's probably my #1 topic. Anytime I see a dealer, I'm constantly asking them what they're doing about mobile because, as I said, I look at the data, I look at the statistics, and if you look at what's happening, the search is completely flat on the desktop, yet mobile and specifically apps are continuing to grow at 30% trends. We're finding that consumers like to search across multiple devices, but more shoppers today are purchasing online. And I've got some stats that are interesting. The average person, and this is the average person, touches their smartphone 150 times a day. Now, my 72-year-old mother is on her phone all the time, and my 15-year-old daughter, I guarantee you, she touches it more than 150 times. But if we look at the average, we look at everyone that is purchasing products, specifically B2B is what we're talking about today. Everyone has a smartphone. Shopping and searches continue to increase 115% on smartphones year over year. And 65% of online shoppers, of online carts start with a mobile device. So what we're finding is that specifically on mobile apps, it is up 575% over the last 3 years. And 80% of the time of that is being spent on mobile devices in an app. So those are stats that we can't deny and that we need to make sure that our dealers understand.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy when you hear some of those numbers. But then when I think about mobile ordering in general and the office products industry, my mind automatically goes to Amazon. And I'm wondering if you have specific B2B data on what % is being ordered via mobile for Amazon.
Absolutely. I do have those stats, and I want to stress the stats that I'm going to share with you are specifically B2B and for office products. So a lot of times people challenge me of, is that all of Amazon? No, I've peeled out everything. And so what I'm going to share with you is current statistics as of about a month and a half ago on Amazon. So currently today, your largest competition, right, 37% of their sales are coming through the desktop. only 37%. 25% is coming through on an app on a smartphone. I just got information a week or two ago that said, Amy, those stats are really low. Those have grown tremendously over the last month, month and a half. It might be, I just haven't validated it. So I think sharing the 25% kind of gives you a picture. And then 23% is done on a website on a phone. And if you think about what Amazon does, and probably why things are transitioning more to their app, is when they log in or you log into Amazon's site, it'll pop up and it'll say, hey, download our app and get a better experience on our app. So if you look at those two together, that's 48% of their volume is coming through a smartphone device. 7% is coming from a tablet on the website, and the other 5% is coming from an app from a tablet. So you can see those numbers are showing exactly what our channel needs to do.
Yeah. Do you have anything on Staples? I'm just curious about that. On their B2B mobile purchases, because many of the independents kind of consider Staples to be maybe the big box competitor.
Absolutely. I do have stats. My stats are a little bit older, but I think they're very relevant. And, you know, we shouldn't take our eyes off of Staples. I think all of the buzz is about Amazon right now and them kind of making an entry into our markets. But the stats that I have for 2014 still are amazing. At that time, Staples, all of Staples, and I'll break it down B2B here in just a minute, was 45% on the desktop, 44% on the smartphone, and 11% on a tablet. But if you get this stat, 52% of B2B business, all search was done on a smartphone for their business. So that was 2014, and that was 52% of their B2B.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even want to guess what it is, you know, 3 years later.
Exactly.
So I would say that there may be some independents that are thinking, well, my customers just don't purchase that way. I know when we're looking at online ordering in general, forget that it's via the mobile device, many independents still are less than 50% of their orders are being processed online. So they might be thinking that their buyers just really don't want to purchase that way. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first and foremost, I think the dealership needs to look at their percentage of sales online, but more importantly, if you peel out those more contract items, what we tend to see is that percent of their business is actually higher. So you might be misrepresenting how much of your business is actually online if you're looking at those contract purchases, sorry. But the stats are staggering. 82% of consumers go online and do product research before buying. That is a B2B statistic. So 82%, even if, you know, only 60% of your volume is going through online, 82% of your consumer is still searching on a mobile device. And if you don't have that app, you don't have that user-friendly experience, you're limiting your consumer's ability. Also, a couple of advantages of using the app in today's environment is I've got dealers that say, oh, Amy, we still have customers that, you know, have storerooms, or they're still taking inventory. On our mobile app, and I'm sure there's non-ECI customers on today too, and I'm sure maybe they've got apps that are similar, but ours actually has the scanning ability. So don't underestimate your consumer's way of doing purchasing just because maybe there's still an old style of inventory room. The scanning barcode on our app has been a tremendous tool for a lot of our dealers who still have those old Susie secretaries that like to store all their product. So, you know, I would challenge, I hear that a lot too, Krista. I hear my consumers just don't purchase that way, but I really challenge that. Say, go out to your top customers and really find out for yourself.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing in so many of the statistics and just in thinking in general, the buyer's changing, you know, the customer, the consumer, their needs are different, and they're also getting younger. More of the millennials will be in management positions. And I think that, you know, that in itself, we want to be able to adapt and change to be able to meet the needs of the end user. How are you seeing the independents adapting? And, you know, what kind of numbers can you share with us in terms of how well the independents have really adapted to the mobile market?
Yeah, it's been a struggle. It's been an ongoing struggle. About a month ago, I had 52 dealers that I did face-to-face conversations with, and my first comment was, are you seeing the millennials in your base? And the answers are no, we don't really see it. But for everyone on the call today, I challenge you for that, because if you think about it, a millennial is between the age of 18 and 29. I guarantee you have a lot of 25 to 29-year-olds that are in your account. They're searching for products. They're doing it on their smartphones. But it's not only the millennials that are purchasing from the apps. If you look at the statistics, there's no way that could just make up that small portion of the millennials. So don't underestimate your customer. I guarantee you that, on their personal lives, I know I shop on an app a lot. That's coming into our B2B and our office products purchasing. And if we just look at Staples, we just look at Amazon, you'll see that reacting to the millennials and really just the progressive way of purchasing is critical.
So what are some of the analytics among the office products dealers? I mean, how many have downloaded this? How many are using mobile today?
Yeah, this isn't really a question I like to answer. It's not good statistics, and it's why this talk show is so important today. So at the end of 2016, and let me say, ECI came out with our mobile app in 2014, saw the trends, saw what was happening, and built it in 2014 and released it at our Connect conference. At the end of 2016, we had 28 dealers that had our app, Office Shopper. Mind you, I deal with 1,200, or I have 1,200 consumers that are specifically office products and ECI customers. At that point in 2016, those 28 dealers only had 239 downloads. So that means even those 28 dealers were not pushing it out to their consumer. Today, as of the stats this morning, I've got 53 dealers that have the app. But again, the downloads are so small, they're just not pushing it out at this point. So those are the results. Those are the stats, and they're not very pretty.
No, they're not very pretty. So they're extremely low, right, for what we would hope that they could be and potentially should be. What do you see some of the struggles are that the dealers are having, maybe in just embracing this or communicating it? And really getting this app in the consumer's hands? What's kind of holding them back?
Yeah. The number one feedback that I get ongoing from many of our dealers is that their sales forces are older generation, more of the baby boomers, and just feel that the app isn't really necessary, or they don't find it valuable. Maybe they're still dealing with that Susie secretary. They're going in and taking the orders and really underestimating the power of technology. That's probably the number one thing that I hear is just my sales reps aren't talking about it. We don't have a lot of dealers that have great communication to get it out there besides their sales reps. So that seems to be our struggle at this point.
Yeah, and I guess I can understand why they would, maybe point to more of an antiquated sales organization, but I guess the cynical side of me is thinking that there are a lot of business owners that and sales leaders that need to get around that and recognize that it needs to be a strategic position for them and to kind of make that happen.
Absolutely.
Do you have any success stories, let's say, of an independent that's really done a great job at this that you can share with us?
I do. I've got two dealers that come to mind right off the top of my mind. And a lot of it just, as you said, Krista, a lot of it is that the ownership has taken on themselves the strategy to go out to the marketplace. Just to throw out some ideas, maybe some of you can take it away from this call, is we've got one dealer, they made up a marketing piece. It was really cute. It was just like a little cell phone, looked very real. And it had their message on it, something about, download the app, or hey, did you know that we have the mobile app? And they had a challenge where all their sales reps went out in the marketplace and tried to, hit as many of their customers that they could and as many downloads that they could get, which drove a lot of fun, excitement, and then obviously the consumers knew that the app was available. I had another dealer that did a really creative video. They actually created it themselves where they weren't talking about the app and the ability to order on it. They actually went out to, I think it was 3 or 4 of their consumers and actually interviewed them on them using their app, what it has done to their business, how it's different, how it's helped them. I remember one of the ladies said, I was driving home, I was stopped at a red light, and I remembered, oh my goodness, I forgot to order, file folders. And it was just so convenient to pick up my phone and, put that order in right away. So those have been 2 really good successes. But if you think about it, Krista, that's more of the dealership taking that strategic marketing idea and driving it out, as opposed to relying on a case-by-case or one-by-one stop from a sales rep.
And when I'm hearing those stories, it kind of gets me excited to think about that there are dealers on the line that need something fresh and exciting and high-tech and innovative and a differentiator to go out and sell and represent. And this is a great opportunity to do that, especially knowing kind of the statistics and it's time to get to market. It almost gives me this sense of like deja vu, though. It's like 20 years ago when everyone was saying, oh, you need to have an online ordering site. And then there were the late adopters or the laggards thinking that, oh, we really don't need to do that. But it seems like now's the time. But I'm curious, is this complicated? Because it doesn't seem like it. I envision an app that the customer downloads on their mobile device, and it's a mobile version to place orders, and it's kind of like a seamless thing. Is it more complicated than that?
Nope, it is that simple, which makes us all kind of scratch our head, right? But yeah, it is really that simple. And I know a lot of dealerships, maybe even the ones that are on the call today, are sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, this is going to be so costly. And it would be costly if you would go out and try to build a mobile app just for yourself. But we've done that from, an ECI standpoint. We've done that. It's, a couple $100 a month, and you can go out and implement it into all of your customers. I mean, it truly is so inexpensive. And you're right, Krista, it is the deja vu. I remember 20 years ago or 15 years ago sitting at the office products dealership going, oh, this e-commerce thing or this website and email, that's just going to go away. That's nothing that's going to take hold. And here we are today. And we as a dealer, as most dealers, had to suffer greatly for that. And so we're really trying to prevent that.
Yeah. So let's just talk a minute about strategy and maybe some advice that you have. And if you could maybe give us 3 things, let's say, to take away from today's call to start building that plan and perhaps giving advice to the dealers, what would you say that would be?
Well, first and foremost, I would say hopefully they take away from it today that it's just easy and simple, and all you have to do is look at it. So my number one bit of advice would be just if you haven't looked at it, if you're an ECI customer, just take a look at the app. Contact your sales rep and just say, hey, I want to see what this is all about, and then make an educated decision. Look at the statistics. If you need deeper dive statistics, feel free to reach out to me. If you want to go get your own statistics because you feel more comfortable, go out and do it, but make sure you're making educated decisions about it. Build a strategy. Find a good marketing plan. Don't rely on somebody to do this. I know as a business owner and as independent dealers, you guys are all just trying to get deliveries out next day, and trust me, I get that more than anyone. I remember doing the same thing. At the same time, it's so critically important that you're working on the business and not in the business. Office Shopper, the mobile app, is not a revenue generation, but it's protecting your dealer base, because I guarantee you, as office products continue to decline, people are out there shopping. and they're shopping on the app. Whether you believe it or not, the stats show it, Amazon shows it, Staples shows it, even B2C showing it. So make sure you're adapting to that. Don't suffer the pain before you realize, oh, we should have done that when Amy was talking about it back in 2017. So take a look at it, build a marketing plan, and launch it to your salespeople. Make sure they know how important it is.
Yeah, and when I think about an app in general, I know I'm thinking of my phone and what apps do I choose to put on there. And as I'm swiping through, I'm seeing their logos and images all the time. It's actually a great retention tool. Could terrific branding if it's something that their customers are seeing on a regular basis. I just don't understand why it's been so slow to be adopted. But hopefully, with your effort and the things that ECI are doing, that can start speeding up. As a service provider, what could you tell us that ECI is doing today, kind of to stay ahead of the technology curve?
Absolutely, and specific to the mobile, as I mentioned earlier, in 2014 we launched it, and you can see the statistics behind it. People aren't adapting it, but we are not giving up on it at all because we know the importance of it. And Krista, you're exactly right. It is free branding. It is landscape on a phone. Pick up your phone. I mean, mine's right in front of me here. Pick up your phone. How many apps do you have on that mobile device? And how many times do you delete apps? Not very often. So we're continuing to invest because we feel it's just a matter of time before our channel's going to adapt into this space. We're not giving up. We're trying to educate. Every single one of my strategic conversations with dealers start with, what are you doing for the millennials and what are you doing with mobile, because it's really where our channel needs to go. And get that landscape on your consumer's smartphone first.
Yeah. This is a great subject today, Amy. I'm glad that you were able to join us. Is there anything else you can think of that we might have missed, or anything you want to tell the dealers at this stage? I think you did a great job of expressing kind of the need to pay attention to this.
Absolutely. I think everyone who joined in today, we're all passionate about this industry. We all want to see it successful. It changes nonstop, and it's changing more and more this year, next year, and so stay ahead of the curve. Take advantage of technology. Take advantage of digital technology. That's what's going to make sure that the independent channel stays strategic and stay ahead of the curve. So I just challenge you, if you've got any questions or anything of that nature, specific to mobile or what ECI is doing, please, reach out to me, and I'd love to have a conversation with you.
That's great. So would it be okay if we went and shared your contact information so that if anybody wants to get a hold of you, they know how to reach out to you with any additional questions? And
absolutely. I think a lot of people know how to get a hold of me, but please share it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks, Amy. Great seeing you. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Thank you, Krista.
So for everyone, I hope you enjoyed our talk show today. And just so that you know, the Krista Moore Talk Show is live the third Wednesday of every month. And we're going to have these talk shows throughout the remainder of the year. As a matter of fact, we're already booked well out through December. So it's a time for you to learn a different way, by hearing a conversation between two people. You can also go to KristaMooreTalkShow.com, and you will see where you can register for upcoming shows, and you can also listen to past recordings. So if you liked what you heard today from Amy and you want somebody else to hear the same recorded session, just know that you can go to that site and listen to a podcast or listen to the recording of it. Also, mark your calendar for May 17th. That's our next show. I'm going to be interviewing Stephen Scoggins from the Journey Principles Institute. And some of you may have heard about him, but he's a fascinating guy. And I'm looking forward to him sharing his journey with everyone on the line. He had nothing, and he became homeless. And he was able to pick himself up, and actually now he has a multi-million-dollar company. So I'm looking forward to that interview, and hopefully we all can learn from his different success principles. At K Coaching, we care about you and we care about your success. We'll see you next month.